Yo, what is up, guys? I'm bringing you a brand new video, and welcome to week number 7 of my 700 gear score series, where I try to get 700 gear score in under 60 days on the EU server. In last week's video, we had 289 AP with 397 DP, and we had 272 Awakening AP, and we also had 26 Mansion Pity Pieces with 6.9 billion liquid silver in the bank. In this week's video, I'm going to show you absolutely everything that I did to get a 10 gear score gain, bringing our DP up to 407 and bringing our Awakening AP up to 284 with a stagnant 289 in the main hand. The primary gains that we got is we did get a Duo Goddard Iron Buster. We purchased that for 14.7 billion at minimum price. We also got a Pen Rhonaros ring for 8.6 billion at minimum price. And we finished off our Pen Narc from Jatina, and we bought enough of those crystallized despairs in order to get an Exalted Vel's Heart. We also ended up with 35 Mansion Pities and 1.5 billion silver. But the way that we started it off is with some good old-fashioned Orcs camp. I can imagine that you guys are probably feeling a little bit tired of Orcs, because I'm kind of feeling that way too. Orcs is really not an entertaining spot because it doesn't really have a lot of that, that dopamine hit. And it kind of feels like the hours drag on because there isn't really that sort of rare drop. But man, is the spot effective. I'm getting around 730 million raw silver per hour just by using loot scrolls here. And I'm managing to get, with a yellow loot scroll, I can get up to about 25,000 trash per hour. So I am doing pretty darn well. This week we ended up grinding quite a bit. And you can see here, after a couple hours of grinding, you can get a nice solid amount of raw silver. And what's great about it is that raw silver is requiring no, market influence. I also ended up completing the quest line for Jatina. This is the Wednesday where I think we still had about 3 days left. And we ended up doing an event here that gave us an extra box of relics. And we managed to get ourselves a base level Ergon shoes. So that was a nice little 200 and something million gain there. So that was pretty nice. After that, we went on and headed back to Orcs. Now, in terms of the total amount of time that I grinded this week, I've been reading your guys' comments. You guys are always curious, like, how much time did you grind this week? Well, I am keeping track of how much time I'm staying logged into this Berserker. I try to minimize the amount of time that I am actually essentially just doing nothing on the character. Like, I try my best to always constantly be doing something. And so it does include travel time anytime I've ever been logged into this account. But I was on 27 days and 12 hours in last week's update video. And now my character has 30 days and 1 hour. So effectively, we played for 24 hours times 2, plus another 13 hours, which is a total of 61 hours this week. And if you divide that by 7 days, that means that we played on this account for roughly 8.7 hours per day, which is a lot, but that doesn't mean that we grinded 8.7 hours, because once again, there is travel time, any of the time I was buffing up, anything like that. But in this clip here, you notice that we actually got some really nice gold bars. We ended up purchasing these Friday special deal as well for 80 pearls, because that gave me 2 loot scrolls. And then I went back on to do a little bit more Orcs. But in that previous clip that you saw, the gold bars came from doing the 50 completed rounds of the Black Spirit Adventure. So that was a pretty nice little boost in cash. And then we did a little bit more Orcs and did our Jatina. And then we ended up purchasing a Tri-Narc accessory, which was needed for the Pen Narc upgrade, as well as the Pen Rhonaros ring. We got it for minimum price. We ended up getting it for 8.6 billion silver. However, we can't really wear that Rhonaros just yet, because we would lose AP for that. We kind of had to wait a couple of days before we were able to wear it, so I didn't put it on right away. But what I did do is I traded my Cloud accessory as well as my Jatina Crescent on over for a Narc to pre-prepare for the Pen Narc. So I traded over my Cloud. It's really nice and convenient that they added in this ability to swap things. You can do it once per day, so it's like unlimited essentially. Just every day if you choose you want to swap accessories, you can do it. So I'm very, very happy that they added that, because it made it really easy for me to just swap it. They end up giving you the Tet as well as the materials to smack it to Pen. So I smacked that to Pen and just swapped it around in preparation for that Narc. And then basically just kind of went back to Orcs and started grinding a little bit more money. Later on in the week, we do end up going to quite a few different spots. But for now, it's kind of just where I've been hanging out and where I've been chilling. And you know what's really, really nice about gear progression, and something that I think is always been motivating to me, is I'm winning a lot of my duel for spots now. Obviously, there's times where, you get your butt kicked and that's just how it goes, but I feel strong. Like, I truly feel like I can go into a duel and have a level of confidence that I'm going to win. And it's a really, really good feeling. And it's been the kind of feeling that I remember back when I started my North American account. That feeling of losing, but wanting to get stronger, wanting to get better. I feel that feeling here in EU. And that's been a big motivating factor in how I'm able to grind so much. There is nothing quite more motivating than essentially kind of like a revenge in a sense, where you just lose a duel and you never want that to happen again. And so you effectively just get stronger and stronger to the point where you really don't lose duels and you can kind of grind wherever you want. So I'm really, really enjoying the strength increase that I'm feeling with these gear upgrades. And I really look forward to getting even more gains in the future, even past that of 700 gear score. But after we did some more orcs, we had a bunch of aggro that we've been saving up, so we decided to hit up some Gyphons. We ended up getting 3 Tungrad belts in about 2 hours of grinding, which is not too bad. And then we went and did some more grinding later, and we got ourselves a 4th Tungrad belt. We also did our last Jatina daily, and that Jatina daily allowed us to do the Shining Brighter Narc accessory, which gave us the stone required to guarantee the pen. You had to turn in 100 Moonlight Stones, as well as that Tri-Narc earring. And then from there, you can easily smack this Narc up to a 100% chance to pen. And that is our very first pen accessory that has our name on it. So, feels pretty good. And that also allowed us to wear our Runneros and still be 289 AP. And hey, look at that, 403 DP. We are officially over the 401 bracket. There's no more DP brackets to get with the Kudaman. However, one of my goals is to try and get a Nuver. That's what we're going to be working on in next week's update video, is we need to get a Nuver and boost our AP up to 305. So after a little bit more orcs, we went and did some Abandoned Monastery. By far, my favorite spot. It's been really, really good. I get still an average of about 2 to 3 dawns per hour. It really does depend. Sometimes when you get a channel, you can, once you get a boss on a channel, I always recommend that people swap to another channel and just look and see if there's some orbs there, because there's no harm. And a lot of the time you'll swap to a channel and then all of a sudden there's going to be like 3 orbs there. And if you think about it, getting 3 orbs on a channel is like having 3/5 of a dawn. It's like free money. So it's been really nice, and I've been averaging about 2 to 3 dawns an hour. It is sort of a common thing that you will get your bosses sniped, but that's just something you got to deal with. After that, we ended up doing the dungeons. Of course, now that I am geared enough, I'm able to do the Elvia version on all 3. So we started off by doing the Yolanakia one, then we went into Sakrakia, and we completed that. And then we also did the Valmakia right after as well. And this week, we ended up getting some pretty solidly decent luck on our openings. Last week, we ended up getting nothing but base accessories. It was probably like one of the worst case scenarios for the dungeon. But in this one, we actually did pretty good for ourselves. We did end up getting 2 out of 3 base accessories, but the 2 out of the 3 bases that we got a Pry Tungrad necklace, and then we got a base Vaha. So that's 342 mil right there. And then in our other box, we got another base Vaha. So Pry Tungrad, 2 base Vaha is pretty darn good. And of course, you have the little tokens that you can trade in the Mahas fragments and the tokens of Oath. And that gives you just some raw silver, as well as a large amount of memory fragments. So, just a little over an hour doing that dungeon. And then we went and did a little bit more Agris usage over here in Upper Gyphons. Unfortunately, the Upper Gyphon event is now officially over, so there's no chance of getting like the the Elton piece from there. But it's still a really, really solid spot, and we're getting like 32 to 36k trash per hour, which is like really close to over 1 billion silver an hour. Legitimately one of the best places to use your Agris, outside of like maybe Jade Starlight, but Jade Starlight feels like too much of a commitment to me, because once you go to Jade, you get a few embers. You're sort of relegated now to that spot where you have to finish the 100 embers. And I didn't really want to feel that way, so I actually really do appreciate the fact that Upper Gyphon is like a non-expectation grind spot. You can go there, you can grind for 6 hours, and you can never go back there again if you want. But if you grind 6 hours of Jade and you have 20-something embers, you're kind of just wasting that potential by not finishing the 100. So that's the reason I'm avoiding that. We also ended up getting a Shikatu chest of luxuries from our attendance rewards, and we ended up getting 500 dust, which is not bad because one of the next upgrades we do need to make is we need to get C17 on our Offen, as well as C7 on the Nuver that we eventually buy. So those Caffers are going to be useful in the future. Then we went and hit up some more Abandoned Monastery. I've been trying to get Abandoned Monastery parties as much as I can because it just feels like one of the best places and most entertaining places because getting those Dawn's resentments and Dawns is like a huge juice. It just makes you feel, great about it. And also it's kind of a little bit, there's a lot of thrill in the fact that the boss can get stolen, and sometimes if one person shows up and me and my party member, we both flag up, you get to do a little bit of PvP. During this particular grind hour, we ended up winning a Duo Goddard Buster. We had just enough money to put an order at min price 14.7 bill, so we ended up buying it at minimum, and we got it for our class 2, so we didn't even have to re-roll it to another class, and that boosted our AP up by 12 in our Awakening. After that, the Abandoned Monastery grind was over. My teammate went to sleep, and I basically went to Orcs and started doing a little bit more Orc grinding. This has been basically my default spot, where if I couldn't find a duo for Abandoned Monastery, it's just like go to Orcs is kind of my comfort spot at this point. So a lot of Orcs, and probably a lot of Orcs to finish off this challenge, but that's how it is when there's a meta spot. We ended up earning enough money to get a Blessed Soul Fragment as well. We bought all of the Embers of Despair, or the Crystallized Despairs, and we made our Blessed Soul Fragment, which gave us a nice little 2 DP boost on the Vel's Heart. And the first upgrade is actually the most expensive, because it takes 200 of those Crystallized Despairs, and the next one actually only takes 100. After that, we went back and did some more Abandoned Monastery. I would say we probably have done more money in just Abandoned Monastery than any other grind spot this week. And we've actually did pretty darn well for ourselves. And what's great is that Dawns have kept up in price. And we also got a Pure Blackstone. This is our third Pure Blackstone that we've gotten on this account in only 1.2 million mobs killed. I believe that's what I'm at right now. I'm at either like 1.15 or 1.2 million mobs killed, which is crazy. It's like unheard of to get that many. And we also ended up with all those Dawns, we sold those, and we managed to get our upgrade for the Vel. So we got the Exalted Soul Fragment, and now we have our Exalted Vel. And that was basically all the gains that we made. We also did a little bit of Lower Gyfin just because I was kind of a bit bored of doing Orcs. So I decided to go to Lower Gyfin. We ended up getting 2 Tungrad necklaces and a belt. And we've also managed to get our trash loot. If we try really hard, we can get 8k trash on a blue loot scroll, which is pretty good. But then we went and did a little bit of Manchems for our weekly quest. We got a Narc Earring and a Marnie's Research Box, which was pretty nice. But effectively, this was the last thing that we did this week. We're still slowly working towards getting the infinite mana potion piece from Manchems, and so taking advantage of the weekly every week gives you 5 free pities, and it also, we got 4 pities from just raw drops while grinding, so we ended up getting 9 in 1 hour. Like, how do you beat it? That's really, really good. That takes you a mere, like, 11 hours in order to finish an entire piece of a potion. So if you guys are sleeping on the weeklies, make sure to do a weekly in your most hated spot, and you'll be surprised how quickly you can get the infinite HP pot or the infinite mana pot. But that's essentially all that we did this week. Now, a little bit of a bittersweet piece of news for you guys. We're probably going to be done with this series in the next update video. So we are probably going to hit 700 gear score in the next video. We're at 696, and all we really need is to get C17 on the Offen and get a Pen Nuver C7. So the next video is probably going to be the last in this series. So I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me, and I hope you guys have really enjoyed it. But yeah, it's probably coming to an end. And I look forward to making more future YouTube videos on this on more stuff, more gear progression, more guides and stuff like that. But this challenge has been really fun, and I hope that you guys learned a lot from it. But that was basically all that we did this week. So I hope you guys really enjoyed. If you guys did, make sure to subscribe. I will see you all in the next video on this series for our final closeout. And I hope that you guys all have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace out, everybody.